I've been trying to find the willpower to make this video for over a month now. And I don't think it's gonna get any easier by waiting any longer. It will never be easy to think about not having him here with me. But he's not just a part of my life, he's a part of a lot of people's lives. Because I have seen how people have shown their affection for him in all of the years that I've had him. I knew it was important not just for everyone who will see this and remember him, but for myself to be able to share news of Cloud's passing. On April 14th, Chelsea and I had to take him to the vet to put him down because he had developed gastrointestinal cancer. We first noticed that he was experiencing symptoms of something. At first it was just diarrhea and vomiting. Late last year, in 2019, dogs vomit from time to time, dogs get diarrhea from time to time, but usually it goes away after, a day or two. And it didn't go away. And we started treating for a number of different conditions that Cloud may have had, of which there are quite a few that can cause seemingly unexplained, seemingly out of nowhere, bouts of diarrhea and vomiting. And cancer was on the list, but I never once thought that it really could be cancer, or that even if it was cancer, that there would be a strong chance that he would survive, because Cloud has always been such a really strong and healthy dog. So we started treating him for one of the conditions that the vet thought it could be. And for a while the treatment was working. Cloud was doing a lot better, and seemingly he would get better and stay better and be healthy again. But then his health turned again, and it got worse and worse, and we woke up one day while still working with the vet to try and find a cause and start treating him. We woke up one day, the day that we had to put him to sleep, and he couldn't stand up, at least not without trying really hard. So we rushed him into the vet, and I was given a few choices, none of which seemed fair to Cloud, none of which were fair to Cloud. I didn't want him to suffer any more than he already had. I didn't want him to not have the quality of life that he did have for most of his life. In the months and weeks and days leading up to us discovering that it was cancer and that we would have to put him down, Cloud never stopped being himself. He never stopped chasing the ball. He never stopped catching his frisbee, and he never stopped wanting to come on walks with us and be near us and be affectionate. And that's why it was so shocking for that day to come, and it's still so shocking. Devastated and heartbroken are as close as it gets to describing how we feel right now. But there are no words for a loss like this, any loss that affects people deeply. I can say with 100% certainty, I have never felt anything like this before. I have never been so knocked off balance before. I have never felt such a tremendous piece of myself missing and damaged. I'm not somebody who readily and regularly expresses how I'm feeling, but I have no problem expressing how deeply I cared for Cloud and how deeply I still care about him and how much he is still a part of who I am and who I am always going to be. I still look for him every time I wake up. He would always sit on either side of the bed. As soon as he knew we were awake, he would sit on my side of the bed and wait for me to say good morning to him. And then he would go around to the other side of the bed and say good morning to Chelsea. There hasn't been a single day that has passed where I haven't woken up and looked for him there. I look for him around every corner of the house. Sometimes I'll catch myself filling a glass of water and thinking, Cloud needs water. I need to fill a glass of water and put water in his bowl. And then I remember I'm used to driving, and every time I peer in the rear view, I'm used to seeing him staring back at me. I'm used to throwing his frisbee for him every single day, or his ball. I'm used to walking with him. I'm used to feeling his presence and hearing his nails on the floor of the house whenever he would walk on tile or hardwood. I'm just used to having him here and being a part of my life to such an extent that not having him here is the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. Cloud has been one of, if not the most, contributing forces in my life over the past 7 years. Throughout my entire life, I don't know that there's been another influence on my life other than some very, very close family members that have shaped me to such an extent. He has been with me through every single milestone that I have made as an adult. He went on the first date that I had with Chelsea. He was there when I proposed to her. He has been, for all intents and purposes, our child, our dog child, for 2 years that we have been married. He traveled with me to Colorado and kept me company there at a time in my life when I probably felt the most lonely. I had the pleasure of raising him from a puppy at 11 weeks until I left Colorado and came to Oregon. And now I could not be more proud of the dog that he ultimately turned out to be. And not just proud of him, but proud of myself for feeling like I always did everything I could to give him the best life possible. Getting to see Chelsea treat him as though she had been raising him with me that entire time, and seeing how much she appreciated having him and appreciated our family of 3 together. I would not be the person that I am without Cloud, and for that I will always be grateful. A lot of people can speak to this. I'm sure quite a few of you out there can as well, that very close bonds with dogs are not just close bonds with a pet. They can be so much more than just an animal that lives with you. Cloud is and will always be one of my greatest teachers, guides, and friends through life. He's a teacher because he taught me how to be responsible in a way I'd never been before I added him into my life. I think I was a pretty selfish person before I picked him up from that farm, and over the years of being accountable to him and responsible for taking care of him, feeling that energy going back and forth between me and him, that affection and that care, he pulled so much of my humanity out of myself. He pulled so much of who I really wanted to be out of myself and drove me to become the person that I am now, and just taught me so much about what it really means to love another living thing and to care about another living thing He guided me along through the hardest parts of my life, and he's still guiding me through not having him here. He had this way of helping you realize what it is that you needed to do in any given moment, because dogs live so much in the present in a way that humans, we seldom can, because we have so many problems that exist in the future that we're trying to prepare for and plan for, that we never get to live completely in the moment in ways that can bring us the most joy. So if there was ever a time, there were many times when I was working so hard, whether it was when I was working on YouTube videos or spending too much time studying or working at my day job, I would get to a certain point where you feel this tension. I'm not spending enough time outside. I'm not spending enough time in recreation, trying to recuperate all of the energy that I put into this work that I'm doing. And Cloud was always ready to say, let's go outside. Let's feel the sun on our faces. Let's go to work. Let me go to work now. Throw the ball for me, and I'll bring it back to you. And I'll show you that this bond that you and I have is much deeper than I just live here and freeload off of the food that you feed me. Ultimately, there's a very good reason why dogs are called man's best friend, and I've never understood that phrase so well as I do now, because Cloud really has been my greatest friend for the past 7 years, and such a resource of strength for me, and willpower, and devotion, and loyalty to draw from, that not having that influence with me, at least not in a way that I can feel physically, is the most devastating part. These bonds that we create with our animals, be it a dog or your cat or a goat or a horse, they tether you to life in a way that a lot of people don't necessarily get to experience or take it upon themselves to experience. And it's such an enriching experience that if you can let that in and appreciate it, your life does really become so much more rich than it was before in terms of what you're capable of, things that you didn't realize you were capable of. These animals can pull that out of you. And that's what Cloud has done for me and will continue to do for me for as long as I'm alive. I will always pay forward his love and extend it onto every living thing that I touch and have an influence on. I will always try to be better because of him, and I know I am better because of him. I thought I owed it to all the people who over the years have said that I inspired them to get their own dog and raise their own puppy or adopt a rescue dog. And the bonds that you have created with your own animals are all a testament to the bond between Cloud and myself. And so I could not be more grateful to you for giving me the chance to share what I have with Cloud, both the immense and incredible joy it is to know him, and the pain of having to let him go. I'm sure there are those of you out there. I read several stories from some of you who have shared the passing of your own dog or cat with me in comment sections of random videos. If you haven't heard of it already, I urge you to look at a poem called The Rainbow Bridge. It was shared with me by a good friend of mine, and it is a very bittersweet comfort, but I know it was comforting to me, and I will say goodbye to you for now by sharing it with you. I hope all of you are doing well in this very uncertain time and finding a way to survive and hopefully thrive. Take care of yourselves and take care of those you love, both human and animal. And I will see you around.